These baddies are certainly charismatic. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 animated Disney villain monologues. Think you know Kingdom Hearts? Click below to sign in with your Google or Facebook account and take the new trivia quiz on WatchMojo.com. It's pretty hard, but get it right and you could win a collectible box from Culturefly, loaded with exclusive toys, accessories, and apparel. Click here or follow the link in the description. For this list, we'll be looking at some of the greatest Disney and Pixar villain monologues and speeches ever delivered. We'll be using the term monologue rather loosely, not focusing on big Shakespearean-type soliloquies, but instead considering dramatic character or plot-driving speeches spoken by the villains. We also won't be including songs, so Scars Be Prepared or Dr. Facilier's Friends on the Other Side are out, despite their monologue-y nature.
I'm a royal myself on my mother's side.
Number 10. The Horned King, The Black Cauldron. The Black Cauldron is undoubtedly one of the darkest movies in the Disney canon. It was the first Disney movie to receive a PG rating, and its dark tone seemed to repel general moviegoers, resulting in it flopping at the box office and nearly bankrupting Disney. Taking one look and listen of The Horned King is enough to see why it was considered so unapproachable.
Soon the Black Cauldron will be mine.
His monologue is incredibly scary and upsetting, from the king's eerie, grating voice to the speech's content, which includes speaking to skeletons and declaring himself a god among mortal men.
Oh yes, then you will worship me!
This monologue and its accompanying visuals are like something found in an 80s metal album, not a Disney film.
How long I have thirsted to be a god among mortal men.
Number 9. Cruella de Vil, 101 Dalmatians. Cruella de Vil is often considered to be one of the vilest characters in Disney history, and her brief monologue is suitably detestable.
15 puppies! How marvelous, how marvelous, how perfectly!
After Cruella attempts to buy the dogs, Roger puts his foot down and tells her that they are not for sale.
No, I mean it. You're not getting one. Not one. And that's final.
Bad idea. While we know Cruella to be a terrible person, this monologue drives home just how vain, unreasonable, and utterly selfish she really is.
Keep the little beasts for all I care. Do what you like with them. Drown them. But I warn you, Anita, we're through.
She would rather they drown the dogs than keep them, and she calls them idiots for not wanting to sell the dogs. If we didn't hate her already, we certainly did after this malicious outburst.
I'll get even. Just wait. You'll be sorry. You fools. You idiots!
Number 8. Anton Ego, Ratatouille. Isn't it great when a villain turns around and utterly redeems themselves? Throughout much of the movie, the restaurant critic Anton Ego is portrayed as some sort of heartless, detestable, and snobbish man who is not pleased by anything or anyone.
Tell your chef Linguini that I want whatever he dares to serve me. Tell him to hit me with his best shot.
This all changes when he takes a bite of Remy's ratatouille. What follows is a beautiful monologue about the nature of criticism, art, and acceptance.
In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment.
It's not only a brilliant development in the character of Anton, but also a touching speech about preconceived notions and the sometimes unexpected and life-changing feelings we experience after discovering a true piece of art.
To say that both the meal and its maker have challenged my preconceptions about fine cooking is a gross understatement. They have rocked me to my core.
Number 7. Charles F. Muntz, Up. Charles Muntz's monologue is painfully short, but its brevity arguably makes it all the better. Muntz is an extremely paranoid and violent individual who is not afraid to commit murder if he thinks someone is after his precious bird.
Here they come, these bandits, and think the bird is theirs to take. But they soon find that this mountain is a very dangerous place.
In this delightfully creepy scene, Muntz shows off his murder victims to Carl and Russell, while cryptically warning them of their impending deaths.
You know, Carl These people who pass through here, they all tell pretty good stories.
This little speech is so menacing because it places a microscope over the human capacity for depravity.
A botanist cataloging plants. An old man taking his house to Paradise Falls.
Disney villains are usually cartoonish, and their actions extravagant, but Muntz is nothing but a straight-up murderer. It's incredibly dark for a children's film, but that's what makes Muntz and this speech all the more terrifying.
I mean, that's the best one yet. I can't wait to hear how it ends.
Number 6. Evil Queen, also known as Queen Grimhilde, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The Evil Queen is one of cinema's greatest and most enduring villains, just as evil and iconic today as she was 80 years ago.
I'll go myself to the dwarf's cottage in a disguise so complete no one will ever suspect.
And you don't get to be one of the greatest villains in cinematic history without having a badass and utterly evil monologue. The Evil Queen's monologue comes when she's magically transforming herself into an ugly witch.
Now, begin thy magic spell.
The speech emphasizes the Queen's ego and vanity and features some truly ominous incantations and sounds, not to mention that creepy witch cackle. Lucille Laverne's performance is also iconic, imbuing the speech and character with just the right amount of menace and hostility.
One taste of the poisoned apple, and the victim's eyes will close forever in the sleeping den.
Number 5. Don Bellwether, Zootopia. The villain unveils their true plan and motivation speech is as old as time itself, but it can still be effective when told with this amount of passion, character, and thematic depth.
What are you going to do? Kill me? Oh, no, of course not. He is.
No! After shooting Nick with what she believes to be the predatory serum, Bellwether begins an all-too-topical monologue about stereotypes, societal fracturing based on ignorance and prejudice, and fear selling and controlling people's beliefs.
He can't help it, can he? Since Preds are just biologically predisposed to be savages.
It's not only painfully relevant in today's political climate, but it also works perfectly within the narrative context.
Think of the headline. Hero cop killed by savage fox.
With this speech, Bellwether shows her true character, and it is loathsome.
Fear always works, and I'll dart every predator in Zootopia to keep it that way.
Number 4. Hopper, A Bug's Life. Even if you're pint size, it doesn't mean you're not creepy.
How about this?
After making his point with the grain, Hopper makes a great little speech about keeping the ants in line in order to prevent them from realizing their tactical advantage.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
It's a hate-filled monologue that's brilliantly and frighteningly delivered, and it proves Hopper's intelligence and competency, two necessary ingredients in a great villain.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
The goon's horrified response is not unwarranted. This is one scary grasshopper.
He's quite the motivational speaker, isn't he? Let's ride!
Number 3. Judge Claude Frollo, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is among Disney's darkest movies, and Claude Frollo is one of their darkest villains.
Is there something troubling you, Quasimodo? Oh, no! Oh, but there is. I know there is.
Just go listen to Hellfire if you don't believe us, or this incredibly sinister monologue.
You idiot! That wasn't kindness, it was cunning! She's a gypsy! Gypsies are not capable of real love!
In this speech, Frollo expresses true hatred and contempt, calling Quasimodo an idiot, displaying his prejudices, and promising Quasimodo that he will kill Esmeralda, the one person to show him compassion and kindness.
Never you mind, Quasimodo. She'll be out of our lives soon enough.
To drive the speech home, Frollo stabs and burns an Esmeralda doll, as if the simple declaration of murder wasn't enough. What can we say? The man is truly psychotic.
I know where her hideout is, and tomorrow at dawn, I attack with 1,000 men.
Number 2. Syndrome, also known as Buddy Pine and Incrediboy, The Incredibles. Here is how to do the villain reveals their true plans to a captive hero cliché correctly.
Sure, it was difficult, but you are worth it. I mean, after all, I am your biggest fan.
Syndrome's speech about killing off superheroes, becoming a hero himself, and eventually selling superpowers to everyone, not only reveals his true plan to the Incredibles and the audience, but it allows us to understand Syndrome's character.
Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Here was a boy who only wanted to be a hero, yet was shunned by Mr. Incredible and the superhero community.
I'm sorry.
See? Now you respect me, because I'm a threat.
You can't blame him for being a little power hungry. Jason Lee's vocal performance is also fantastic, as he nails the perfect combination of ego, jealousy, and frustration. And that evil laugh? What a beaut.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
I figured after we'd married, I'd have to stage a little accident for Elsa.
Hans! No! Stop!
But then she doomed herself, and you were dumb enough to go after her.
You don't know what a delightful dilemma it was. Trying to decide on the most appropriate method for your demise.
We had fantastical feasts when I lived in the palace. And now look at me, wasted away to practically nothing.
Number 1. Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty. People don't get much worse than Maleficent, and her brief monologue at the party is probably the most ominous speech in the entire Disney canon. After not being invited to Princess Aurora's christening, Maleficent appears at the palace supremely pissed off.
You weren't wanted. Not what? Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
She tells the terrorized audience to listen closely before she curses the child.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die.
When the guards try to seize her, she simply laughs and disappears in a giant burst of green fire. You know, it can't get much worse than cursing a baby to death and laughing about it. Maleficent embodies pure evil, and this speech ensured her status as one of cinema's most iconic villains.
Stand back, you fools!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.